Hi everyone, this is Alessio Veneziano, your host. I'm the founder of Veneziano Therapy. I'm here with a dear friend of mine, Giuseppe, the founder of Inner Freedom. And for the first time, we're gonna talk about his experience about Kundalini, about breathwork, and most important about his company. The Inner Freedom team, sorry. So we're gonna go deep into details about his story, how he started, what is for him the breathwork, what is for him the Kundalini activation, which is way different from the yoga Kundalini. And then Giuseppe, he's going to explain us. I call him Beppe because we always, in Italian, we always have this nickname. But let's start. Ciao, Beppe.
Ciao, Alessio. Thank you
How are
for
you doing?
introducing. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me here. It's
Thank
my
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
And indeed, I prefer Beppe now. Giuseppe is my real full name, but I identify with Giuseppe more as my previous office corporate life. I think now I'm more Beppe. I feel more Beppe.
Yes, it's more friendly, right?
Yes.
Yes. So let's start into the beginning. How did you start your company? And what did you do before? So maybe you want to introduce yourself and
so I'm
what
Beppe.
did you do before? Yeah,
Beppe or Giuseppe. I'm originally from Italy. But since the age of 2021, I started working as a consultant, IT consultant, and I was traveling Europe and the world. Always doing development or consultancy or project management, always in IT. And I did this, I think, most of my life till last year. That was my job. I noticed that at the beginning, I really liked the job. Of course, it's very nice to travel the world while you work, and it was something that I thought made me happy. But going on with the time, I realized that there was a part of me inside that wasn't really happy. I realized that yes, I have a beautiful wife, I have a nice house, I have a nice job, good salary, I can go on vacation now whenever I want. So what is there to not be happy? But there was something about myself inside that I didn't really understand, right? I mean, what do I want? What do I like? So, and I think I felt this a little bit of that feeling already early on, and I like to work on myself in terms of self-development. At the beginning, that was more focused on how, let's say, productivity, on work, on how to improve and stuff like that. But after the years, it turned more into a inner search, more almost, we can call it spiritual, or let's say more self search of myself. And that, I think, became more and more evident, more profound with the years, with personal things that happened in my life. Loss of some family member. I had to fight with addiction because I didn't like the life I was, let's say, the work I was living in. But also the COVID period was quite an intense part of it, because the world we were used to changed completely. We used to go to the office every day in the morning, traffic jam in the car, go to the office, work 10 hours, and then again another hour in the traffic jam to come back, and repeat that every day. And that was normal. That was the normal life. I could not think of, then you have the weekend to relax and rest, and then it starts over again. Up early in the morning, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half in the car in the traffic jam, work the whole day for a boss or something, and then coming back. And let's say that the COVID came over, and of course many bad things in that period. But I think it also brought us a realization that that type of life is not normal. we were for the first time ever, I think we worked like every day from home. And we said, okay, there is another way of doing this, right? And I think that period also bring a little bit of silence. So of stillness within yourself. You have time to think. You have time to understand yourself, right? And then you start valuing time with the family more, time in nature, and things like that. Going back to the point, I started, let's say, questioning, okay, why am I not happy? To do that, I say, okay, what do I want? What do I like to do? What is my purpose? But to get to that answer, I first needed to understand who am I really? Because this is all what it's my opinion, but I think it's how it is. We are not who we think we are, because most of the time, what we think we are the conditioning of the society, of the family, of the friends, of the breakups, of all what happened to us in life, good and bad, that makes us who we think we are. So we identify with that person, right? I am a developer, but this is what you do. And you do that because you think what you thought when you were little, they told you this was the right thing to do, and somehow you go to that path. But at the core, you are somebody else. So I started this search of the soul, let's say, right? And I did that in different ways. So I did meditation, helped me a lot to quiet my mind, because this is one of the problems we have, I think, in this age. Our mind don't stop really to worry about the future or to regret about the past, and trying to, for a moment, to stop the chattering in the mind and just feeling the now. It's beautiful. It's not easy when you start meditating, because it's difficult to stop that talking.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that helps. And then of course, many other things. So I went for coaches. I tried hypnosis, regressive therapy. I tried plant medicines. For who is not familiar with it, basically it's psychedelic drugs. Some are legal in some countries, so you are allowed to try them. For example, in the Netherlands, the psilocybin, the mushrooms, are legal. Somewhere in South America, you can try also the type of plant medicine like ayahuasca. And why they call plant medicine and not just drugs? Because those are plants. They come from nature, and they have been used for centuries, if not millennia, by people in ceremonial settings to actually elevate your status of consciousness and connect with the universe, connect with with spirits.
When we say drugs, it sounds like a pill, a pharmaceutical
Yes.
pill, right? So
yeah. And actually, we have, maybe in a right way, the association of drugs bad, right?
Yeah.
Or at least I have that.
True.
And the drugs can be bad, but again, maybe this is not the subject where we can have another podcast for this. But back I think it's in the 70s, there was the war on drugs, and all the drugs have been put on the same level. So whether it's marijuana, LSD, or heroin, they're all the same. But actually, at the time, there were some of the drugs, like LSD, were used to cure people. They were used by psychiatrists to help people heal from addiction, from PTSD, and it was giving great results. But of course, then they were all put under it. And so we lost many years in that type of research, and now it's actually coming back. Now in several countries in the world, they are starting again to do some healing or some work with this substance. Anyway, just not to spend too much time on it, but it was an important part in my journey, because actually during ayahuasca session, so ayahuasca is this is a plant medicine coming from the Amazons, mainly from Peru, and it's a combination of two different plants, let's say. And what happened in that, and what happens usually in an ayahuasca trip is you purge your impurities. So it can be physical, it can be mental, it can be spiritual. So what is blocking you? You are in this trip, and when you find out what the block is, you can call it trauma, you can call it what you want, but there is something that doesn't make you fulfill your destiny, fulfill your purpose, because there is something, let's say, that blocks the road. When that comes up and you understand it, you actually vomit. You really vomit in a bucket. But it's, while of course it's not nice to vomit, it's an energetic purge. So you really feel much lighter after. It's like something that was here, sitting here, and was in your life, and it's not there anymore. So for example, one of the messages that I received in that ayahuasca journey
This was still
that
before COVID, right? Just to don't lose the direction. This was still before COVID or after?
That's a
Because
good question.
you were doing still your IT job, right? At this
Yes,
point,
yes, I
you're
was
starting
doing
from
my
the
IT
beginning.
job.
Okay.
I was still doing my IT job for sure.
Okay.
But in the meanwhile, I was trying to find myself. So
Okay.
I did this type of things.
Okay.
And the message basically was, there were two. Oh yes, now I remember. The message was not to try to. So you don't have to plan everything and know how things are going. But this is and again, every person is going to have a different message. But for me, the type of person I am, where like a bit of perfectionist, or maybe the person I was, I changed a lot since then. Perfectionist and trying to have everything pre-planned before. And also my job, project manager, I need to plan what the risks there can be and avoid the risks and before they happen, right? It's a little bit of a professional deformation. And basically the message I received was, if I do that, if I have in my mind, the road is from A to B is this. And if something different than this road happens, I'm going to be disappointed. And I'm going to try everything I can to go back to that road. But what I understood from this message is that the universe will bring me here. I need to trust myself. I need to trust the universe. There is millions ways to go from here to here. There is not only one. And while, of course, I can have in mind this for me is the way, accept things that comes on my path. Because sometimes, a lot of times, they are a blessing. If I only look at this road and there is a bag full of gold, just as a metaphor, in here, I will miss it if every time I go out, I say, no, I need to go back here, I need to go back here, right? Sometimes there are reasons why things go up. Maybe you meet people that are important in your future. There's many reasons why things don't have to go always the way that you think. So that was the first lesson. And the other lesson was to not think too much, to not care of what other people think of me. Don't make my decision based off what I think somebody could think of me. And again, maybe for you, I don't know, it's not a big problem. But for me, the character, the type of person I am, it was a problem. And I realized also recently when I changed this type of job, I had problems telling my family that I'm doing this because it's not seen as a job that makes money, that is career oriented, etc. Right? It's seen something like different.
The
But
job
why should I
that
be
you are doing now at this moment, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, because the
But,
IT job is actually the job that's it brings you fulfillment from outside of from the society, right? Point of view.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
How was
actually,
it for you?
no, actually, ayahuasca was the first. I've been trying many things, but that was the first, let's say, real push of making the change. Because not long after I went to my boss, I told him, look, I cannot do what we're doing now. I can work part-time. I didn't want to cut everything because, of course, it's scary to leave what you do for the whole life for something that you don't know what's on the other side, right? So I said, maybe we can do like part-time for a little bit and do something less responsibility. So, but in the end, it was a way to start, and not long after I ended there, right? In the meanwhile, I still didn't know what I wanted to do, right? But to get to that point, ayahuasca told me just be open to possibilities, right? So just go and you will find it. And indeed, what happened is that while I was trying to find myself, I enjoyed this process. I found then breathwork very powerful tool, because probably I can explain a little bit more later what I mean with it, what it is. But even there, I mean, I was able to release emotions that I hold within myself before, and I never was able to let go. Or this Kundalini activation. Those are things that I found on my path, and it's like, wow, this is so beautiful. If I need it, I think there is many other people that would need it as well.
Because you
And
didn't have an idea, right? Before, when you'll say, I gonna stop this job, the IT job, I'm gonna stop this career.
At that moment, I had an idea. At the moment, I had an idea.
You had an
Yeah.
idea, okay, to
Yes,
go
yes.
into this kind of field for your
Yes.
practice.
And some new things that I'm studying, that I'm getting certified in, are coming up just on the moment, because I'm discovering them while I am on this path. I discover new things as oh, this is also very nice. And I will add it to my expertise. But I knew that I wanted to do like breathwork and Kundalini. It came a little bit later, but it's something that I found, yes, this is something, because it's something that, and again, it's not that everybody that don't know what they want to do needs to become an energy worker or a breathwork facilitator. Everybody has their own purpose, their whole what they like. But I feel that how I held myself in this process, and I spent years trying things and finding, and finally I arrived to something that makes sense to me. I feel that probably maybe there are other people as well that are on the same path. Maybe it doesn't mean that they need to become this. They want to become a gardener or whatever. I mean, it's every person is different. But how do they find that why of their life, right? That goal. And there are different ways to get there. There is more the talked therapy, the counseling, the coach, or psychologist or something like that. So it's like basically talking and trying to get to that point. Or there is the somatic part of work, which is what I like, what I am more attuned with, what I like most. Somatic means it's from the body, because our body actually is very intelligent, and it's not everything in the brain. And let's say a lot of healing and a lot of knowledge and even messages and connection with something higher than ourselves can come via somatic activities, so from the body. They could be the breathwork, the Kundalini, or other things. So I decided to found this inner freedom team, where we do several somatic activities. It's called team, and I say we because it's me and my wife. So my wife Ting is also part of it. And actually, it's not only us, but it's the universe. So as you can hear before, I also moved to not only type of job, but I was a very rational, right-minded type of person thinking, right? And now I feel there is something higher than ourselves that to who we can connect to. And I'm not religious. It's not that I'm Catholic or something, but I feel that the universe is bigger than us, and sometimes it also helps us to connect to that.
Beautiful. So you said that you are using breath work and the Kundalini activation.
Yes.
Maybe it's now ready. We are ready to start and to explain what is the Kundalini activation, or what is for you breath work. You decide where you want to start, because this is actually your work, and maybe breath work is probably more known than Kundalini activation. So I'm sure that who is listening at this moment, even though they know about breathwork, maybe they know about Kundalini activation already, they will find interesting what you're going to say, I'm sure.
Sure.
So just start from one of the two.
Maybe we start with breathwork, which is more known from people. Basically, it's to breathe intentionally in a certain way in order to get the benefit out of it, right? So, and there is many type of different of breathworks. Let's say I think probably the original series of different breathwork is the pranayama. This is all thousands of years, where you have many different type of breathing exercises. You have breathing exercises to relax. So you can, which you can also, and let's say all the type of breathwork that exists today, in one way or the other, take a little bit the idea from the pranayama, right? There is type of breaths that are, let's say, more used to relax. So let's say you have a hard day, you're stressed, or you're nervous. There is some calming breathing technique that helps you to bring back focus, let's say. So you're more balanced, more relaxed, more grounded. There are breathing exercises that are more energizing. So when you need to take action and you have something important going on and so on, and you do this type of breathing exercises to, to energize yourself, right? And a combination of the two. There is another part of breath work, and there are several. There's like the rebirth breathwork, there is the holotropic breathwork, and the one that I do is called spiritus breathwork. And there are several others one as well. Like the Wim Hof is very famous, I think, from the Iceman. But you kind of excite the nervous system to get to a certain point where it closes some open cycles that have been interrupted in the past. What do I mean? And I think probably you know this better than I because you work in the field. But in our nervous system, we have a level of tolerance, so within which we can go up and down. Because it's normal in daily life. If there is a danger, somebody's trying to steal or something, I need to run away or to fight back, right? Or at work, if there is something urgent, I need to run. A little bit of stress is healthy because you need to take action. The problem is if you will go out of this window of tolerance too much, so if you have a too high of a traumatic event, right? Abuse or a car accident or a death of a family member, it can happen that it give you a big trauma, let's say. Or even if it's smaller, but it's for too long of time, it's also creating an issue, right? So work stress, for example, right? If it's a little bit and then it goes down, it's not a problem. But if every day, every single hour, you're always there to that level, that creates a scar. So this creates trauma, basically. And those trauma basically means that this cycle of the nervous system has not been completed. It stays open. And then it's stored in your subconscious. So most of the times, you don't even know why am I reacting so angry when somebody says something, right? It just comes up. That's because it's in your subconscious. You don't know why, right? So maybe that person or what that person says remind you of that traumatic event, and this is your way of responding. Also there we can go very far. There's fight, freeze, and flee, right? There's many ways to respond, but in the end, the summary is that you touch your open wound that is in your subconscious. What the spirit of breathwork does, it helps you it activates you. There is in two phases. You have the activation phase and the restorative phase. In the activation phase, you're going to breathe quite intensively with some music in the background. You can do it with open mouth or from the nose, but it's a connected breathing. So there is no breaks between inhale and exhale. So it sounds like something like this.
It's a wave. We're not stopping the inhale without stopping the exhale.
Exactly. But then doing this for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, it's hard work. That's why also you need to have a facilitator, because you're there not only to see that everything goes well, but also to motivate and so on. But what it does, it activates that nervous system again, and it helps closing those loops that has been open. I actually just came back today from a session this morning I did of breathwork, and it was beautiful because the client, now I don't want to go too much in details because of course I don't want to share the confidential information, but he relived an event of when he was a kid that he completely forgot. And he think, oh shit, oh sorry, can we swear here? He said,
it's your podcast.
So he said, oh, that might actually have been the origin of the issue. And I never thought about it, but it just came up in the, so, you know, something really magic can happen. And then you have the restorative phase at the end, where of course the nervous system have time now to calm down again and integrate in your body all these lessons or all these, let's say, things that happened that has been closed. But this is, I'm focusing more of this on this spiritus breathwork style. So it's a trauma release, trauma healing breathwork. It is a somatic breathwork, but it has origin also from the shamanic world. So you can hear that in the music, but it's also something that helps you, especially if you believe in it, to connect with your guides. So during this session, you're able actually to connect to a higher, because you go to a different level of consciousness and you're able to connect to some higher forces.
So for basically you're gonna breathe for 45 minutes in a position lay down on a mat, right?
Sometimes I will ask to sit up if it's needed for the body to move, but yes.
Okay. So you listen some music that you prepare for the patient or for the client. The client in this case maybe is more the word, and the client is going to follow your instructions, right? So he doesn't have to think too much, probably. They just have to continue breathe in the same level that you were mentioning before without stopping. I have tried
and sometimes you will have to slow down or to go faster, and I will guide the patient with my mimicking my breath or telling go a little bit faster or breathe a little bit more in the belly, more in the chest. So I will of course observe the patient carefully and be sure that the breath continues.
Okay, I tried your session and it's not because you're my friend. I have to say that it was really well done, and I recommend it for everybody that is at least intrigued about breathwork. And it helped me a lot on calming my system down, just be more relaxed. And my symptoms were before the breathwork stress related. So yeah, I had a bit of
anxiety
about certain things. So it really helped me. And 45 minutes was long. It's a long practice. So the Wim Hof, for example, other practices that I've tried are less, the duration is less than 40 minutes, for example. Like, why has to be 40 minutes? Because maybe people, they say, what if I gonna do it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes? Why 45 minutes?
So the standard session is around 45 minutes of this activation phase, so the really heavy breathing, which is hard work, I agree. And then there is another 10-15 minutes of the relaxation part, because you need to integrate, right? You cannot go out when you are in that state. So it's an hour session, basically. Client by client, I can, let's say, adjust a little bit, right? So depending on the intensity, or to see where the client's reaction, it can be shorter or lengthened a little bit. But the duration is that because this is when things happen, when the magic happens. So basically, at the beginning of the activation, you're fighting against it. Maybe not you, but your ego, your body is fighting against it. You're resisting it. It is hard work, and you're most of the time trying to, I don't want to, is pushing, and then you see you pass a threshold when you are in another state of consciousness, and this is where you actually similar to a REM status, right? When you sleep, that's where actually you access your subconscious, and where you can access those unopened, let's say, cycles of the nervous system, to heal them, to feel them and heal them, right? So it takes some time to get there, to visualize it, and yeah, this is the session. Indeed, it's hard work, but it has, I think, a very big rewards after it.
So 45 minutes is because it will take time to break that threshold. And for some people, the hard is 20 minutes. For other people, it's 30. For other people, it's 40, 45. So for me, it really was around 30 minutes. I think 20, 30 minutes where I felt I felt more free. I don't have to control it anymore. I just go. And because I was feeling that I had to push back, slowing my breath, right? Slowing my breath. So we talk about breath work. And what about then we're gonna talk about Kundalini activation more, but maybe before going to switch the subject, I would like to know from you, from your experience, for you, what helped you breath work?
The
This
first time
breath
that
work.
yeah, so because of course, as we said, there is like a relaxation, and I use them all with the client, right? If I see that the client also need some relaxing because it's a stressy life, I will advise also some calming breathing, but also I can also explain them and teach them, and he can do them himself at home, right? This spiritus breathwork, which has a lot of scientific background, like with the nervous system, the trauma, and so on, but also, so let's say, some spiritual mixed together, is what I like to focus. It is more for trauma release and healing. Let's say that the first time that I fell in love with this type of breathwork was during a holiday that I made in Thailand. I love Thailand. We were in the island of Koh Phangan, and I was in a retreat, a spiritual retreat. So I tried yoga, meditation, and I tried also my first rebirth breathwork. It's called rebirth, by the way, because the founder of this type of breathwork, I think when he was inventing it, he was like in his bathtub, and then he re-experienced his own birth. And then he went to the mother and asked, and he went exactly how he said. So he says, with this type of birth, you can actually re-witness your birth. It didn't happen to me. But what happened is that finally, after, I think it was 3 years after my dad died, I was able actually to grieve. Because when my dad passed away, of course, on the moment I cried, but I still, after that, after the first day and 2 days, let's say, I held everything inside. And it was not easy for me to let go of the emotions or to feel them. When I had that, it was also, I think, an hour long or less session of breathing, I cried like a baby there. And I was the happiest person in the world, being able to let it go and to feel that emotion. And for 3 years, I tried sometimes, even in meditation, to go back to that feeling and trying to let it go because I wanted to, but I could not. And that breathwork was the first and only thing that let me do that.
It was
And that's the moment that I knew breathwork is something for me.
nice.
I got the confirmation. I got the confirmation a second time because I always need a little bit of a push. So I knew that there was something for me, but I never really studied or did too much about it. I had one a plant medicine journey, so another one, not that one, and it was such a beautiful journey. I was able to connect with my higher self and see past life. A lot of things happened in the journey, and I was a little bit like, and I could talk to the medicine, to the plant. So I said, "This is so beautiful, so amazing. But how can I connect to this when I don't have a plant, right? When I'm not high? How in the normal life? How can I connect with I felt so much love in my heart, so much big in the universe. It was, how can I connect to this? And the answer was via your breath. That's the only thing I heard, via your breath. And then I found out that this spiritus guy, Tim Morrison, also found out. I mean, he created his breathing technique thanks to a plant medicine, let's say, message. So, okay, 1 + 1, right? I mean, this is it. And then I went to try one of his sessions here in Rotterdam live. It was a very beautiful session, and yeah, that's how it all started. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Such a simple thing, right? Just breathing, just using your breath, and it's something that is developing more and more in Europe and more in most of the world, I think. Probably more in certain countries than others. So it's also very good that you were a skeptic, because I think that most of the people that are listening, maybe in your podcast or in general, if you go down the street and you ask, did you try breath work? Or what do you think about breath work? maybe they don't even know, but for those that they heard about it, maybe they feel like, I don't think it's that something for me or something that works. And
I have to say, I learned one thing, and maybe it's not going to be a popular thing I'm going to say on the podcast, but I have to say what I feel. If you don't believe, you need to let's say, not everybody likes or want to work on themselves or think it's necessary. A lot of people are happy with how things are and continue like that, and and it's okay. Everybody is. But if you feel that there is something about yourself that you want to find out or that you want to improve, or that there is that you don't really know actually what your way is, and you think there is more out there to find out, then there is beautiful things that you can try, and breathwork is for sure one of them.
Okay.
I think breathwork, like you said, is getting more and more popular. It's like if you said 20 years ago on doing yoga, you would have seen like a hippie strange things, right? Now yoga is just you go to the gym, you do yoga, it's the same thing, right? It's very normal.
Probably.
Breathwork is following a little bit, right? So it's a little bit behind, but it's now becoming the new thing. Again, it's hard work, but it can give you a big reward.
Nice. Mindfulness is also something that was before not well known, and nowadays we know that science is studying it since years and is proved. And so let's now switch or connect.
Sorry, before we go to the Kundalini, because I know you're going there.
Yes.
The breath. Why is it so powerful, right? I mean, I think apart from the fact that you breathe hard and you get to high state, okay, but the breathing itself, right? It is one of the few things that happens without you having to control it by itself, like a heartbeat, right? The breath as well. You just breathe, even if you don't think about it. But it's the only thing that you can change consciously to do it. So you cannot change your heartbeat. Like, okay, yes, you can do exercise a bit, but you cannot change directly your heartbeat. And the breath, you can consciously change it. It is actually basically what connects you to the exact moment, to the now, which I think is the fundamental of all the problem of this centuries, right? Which is our overthinking mind, worrying about things that I mean, we have so many problems in life. 99% of them never happens. They only happen in our minds, right? And what if you can focus on now? And the now, what is now? Is the breath. You're breathing in, you're breathing out. This is the now, right? And also the energy that by breathing in, you breathe in the prana. So there's the life energy that you can have, and that connects a little bit with the Kundalini, which is
beautiful. I always say, if you cannot command, if you not take control of your body, take control of your mind. If you cannot control your mind, take control of your body. And if you are completely lost, just take control of your breath, because it's the connection of the two, right? And so indeed, I do believe it, and I experience it. So how did you go into Kundalini then? Like Kundalini activation? And
yes,
maybe just start with what is Kundalini activation for those that they don't know.
Yeah, that's a funny one, because while breathwork, I wasn't such a big skeptic, right? I was like, okay, it's something I want to try. I don't know. I'm not sure about it. And then I got a big result. Kundalini activation, first of all, I didn't even know what it was. My wife went to try a session. She's also recently into spirituality, and we do these things together. She tried it and she said, you need to try. So I actually Googled what it was, and I went to YouTube and see. And you see, if you go online, you see a lot of people moving and like this. That looks fake to me, right? I mean, how can it be? I believe in energy, but it looks strange to me. But I say, okay, I'm open for everything. Let's try. It is real. Every person experiences it in a different way, right? So it's not that you move, and most of the time at the beginning you don't move, and it's not the goal of that, right? I mean, this is all the media and the advertising that we see. You need to show something to attract people, but that's not the goal. What is Kundalini? Activation. So basically, Kundalini itself, just Kundalini is a word in Sanskrit, so in ancient Indian of thousand years ago, and it's basically your life force, your chi, your prana, and it's something that they say is sitting dormant, sleeping like a snake at the base of your spine, yeah, so at the root chakra. And there are ways to awaken this force, and it's like a snake. It comes up to your crown. This in the millennia or in the centuries, let's say, has been done or has been known to happen or spontaneously if there is like a big event, like a big shock or a big life event, or by forcing very hard for many years and practices of meditation, really in silent meditation for many years, or really hard breathing, like very prolonged. But those are ways to force this energy to wake up, right? There is like, don't know exactly the year, but I think around 20 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe, a new way of going about this energy. So you're not awakening it, but you're activated. So it means you kind of wake it up a little bit, but doesn't mean that it goes from here to here and so it's not so, let's say, forceful on you. It's because it can be quite a strong impact. If the real Kundalini, I call it like real Kundalini, awakens now, your life can see like the matrix that you see, that all of this is fake, right? All of this social construction, and it can be quite hard if a person is not prepared, especially if you don't do this type of inner work as a reflection. And at a certain point you live your life, and at a certain point you see, hey, this job doesn't make sense. Why am I buying these clothes? And nothing makes sense, right? So this could be quite impactful. So what we're doing is a little bit different. So this is one of the preconceptions that there are, right? Because if you go out and research Kundalini, it can sound a bit, oh, you need to be careful because if the Kundalini awake okay. What we do is Kundalini activation. What does it mean? That we don't force this energy because it actually is a very beautiful energy. It's just very strong if you wake it up all in one time, right? Because what it does is your life energy. It's your joy of being alive. It's that drive that you have, that when you go on the street, you are radiating energy, that you stop to smell at the flower instead of being in your head, right? It's that energy that is very beautiful. And I really felt it after the first time. And basically what has been done, the facilitator, now I'm a facilitator for almost a year with my wife. We work with the energy field of the earth. It's an energy field that we all can tap into once you try it. And we work as a catalysator. So I don't push my energy into the client. I use this energy field to focus on some part where I feel intuitively that is needed, and it kind of calling this energy, this Kundalini of the patient.
So the client is also staying laying down, right?
The client is laying down. There is hard music, also to, let's say, let the mind not focus on thought, but with the hard music it's a little bit less easy to overthink, but you focus on the music. And then is energetic work. It can actually be done on site, and it can be done online remotely via Zoom. The same as the breath work. Because actually breath work, yes, I can of course tell the client how to breathe and how not to breathe. And this is an energy work. So it is, let's say, if we have the breath work, which is just a little bit above a normal yoga or sport, so the acceptance level is maybe it's not 100%, but people are starting to, but it's hard work. The Kundalini activation is not hard work. So it lasts also 1 hour, but you only need to lie down, listen to the music, and completely be open to what comes. This is it's a small thing, but it's very difficult a lot of times at the beginning because you're always in your mind, right? Okay, what do I feel now? What do I need to do now? What is this? And oh, what is this music? So if you can let go of that and focus only on the sensation of this energy, that's it. You don't need the client itself don't need to do anything. But of course, we're talking about energy work. We're talking about something that you cannot see physically, something that our modern Western society don't recognize or don't really cannot explain, right? But also it means that the future, I'm sure it will be like a completely normal thing, but here we are still, it's not for everybody. So you have some people that are open for this type of things or not. My advice is, I was also skeptic when I saw this. I said, no, what the hell is this? Only because my wife did it, I went to try it, and it's one of the most beautiful things I ever went into. That's why I did one session, and I subscribed to become a facilitator after that.
Wow.
Then before starting the course, I took many other sessions, but I already knew 100% that was for me.
What was the challenge you felt, or maybe people that can feel into this during this practice?
Let's say, so let me describe first my first session. So I arrived there. So the facilitator, which is also the person that gave me the training for the course, she explained exactly her story, where she started, but especially what the energy is. And I can explain it a little bit now in a moment, how it works and what can happen. But of course, in my mind, I was, okay, I know how to surrender and be open. So that's why maybe it worked already the first time, because that's the most important thing. And I learned that from my plant medicine journeys, my meditation. You just need to, of course, relax the mind and go more into the feeling. And I felt this energy. It's difficult to describe if you don't try, but it's this energy that makes you move your body, but you see colors and you see memories. And in the end, what I believe, you can tell me maybe what you think about it, and maybe in the future we will discover if this is the case or not. Two things. One, a lot the Western scientific world see spirituality and energy work as something that is not real, right? Something that
Yeah.
But I think it's because they are not there yet, right? Like one time the Earth was flat and then it was round, and then we will get there. I think even with like quantistic science, they can see that if you change something here at kilometers of distance, there is an impact on another atom, right? And before this was not explainable. How can you change here and then without contact you change something here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is already something that they thought it was impossible, and then spirituality actually already, or the type was already using, and we're getting there. And I think the more and more and more we will study, I believe, especially the nervous system. I believe the nervous system in our body is the bridge between the physical, rational world and the spiritual, energetic world.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I also think that there is a connection that we don't see, of course. And then that doesn't mean that if you don't see, it doesn't exist, right? So that's a problem with the conventional therapy. And I think in the end, it doesn't really matter what the conventional therapy says. What it matters is the solution that we give to the client, or the solution that you experience. So if you feel that there is a solution for you, or like an improvement of symptoms, okay, then works. Of course, there is the name is there is the placebo effect in every treatment, even though, I mean, we know the placebo effect is actually still you, that you are activating your inner force. So the placebo is indeed a treatment, and doesn't mean that it doesn't work. Is placebo is treatment.
For me, placebo is one of the most beautiful things in the world, because it means that actually we can heal ourselves just with the power of our brain, just with the power of our body.
Yes.
Because if you know how, so basically it means that you didn't take a real medicine, but your body still healed himself because you believed it could be healed by that medicine. So just with our power, we're able to heal. So according to me, it means that if we all learn how to do that, we can heal without medicine one day.
Yes,
Because it
yes.
is possible.
I think so. I think so. For what I see in the Kundalini activation, it looks to me that there is a connection from the therapist to the client. There is, because of the client is moving according to the movements of the client, even according to the movements of the therapist, even though if there is not physical connection. So
Yeah.
can you explain this? Because it looks like there are strings, like you are a marionette, a puppet.
No, yeah, it
Right?
looks sometimes
So,
like that, but
yeah. Can you explain that? Or what do you feel from the client perspective, or what do you feel
yes,
from your side as a
yeah.
therapist?
So basically, this Kundalini energy that is kind of activated and start moving a little bit around in your body again. It goes via the nervous system lanes. So you have they call it in the Indian nadi, the nadis.
Yeah.
It's the same as the meridians in Chinese. And you have basically two main ones here, actually three. You have one that is the spine in the middle, and then you have two that kind of do like this. And actually, the crossing is where the chakras are. So those are the energetic points.
Mm-hmm.
And this energy flows from the spine. It goes up via these nadis and goes up, right?
To the brain.
Now, yes. Now means that, of course, they cross this chakras. So those are important energetic points where we can actually work on the energies and the stored emotions of the body, etc. It also means that this energy a lot of times has been dormant, has been sleeping. So when suddenly it's is reactivated by the session, it needs to stream in these two nadis again, right? But it's like if you have how can I explain? Like if you have a tube to water the plants, but you're not been using it for a long time, so there is maybe dirt inside. There is it's a bit hard. So when you put the water, it's kind of move or
Yeah.
it needs to take the dirt away, and then it doesn't go stream properly. And this
Yeah.
is the same that the body does. It's just releasing energy that is flowing and in a release. And at the same time, this blockage, you can see them as the traumas. So what we said before in the breathwork sessions, that your nervous system has interrupted cycles, and those are let's say stored traumas into your subconscious. You can see them figuratively as this blockage in the lanes of the nervous system, right? And when the Kundalini pass, it actually cleans up as well. So this is also a trauma release and trauma healing. But it can bring, let's say, what is the difference? So this is more pure energetic work. It doesn't use the breath. You can combine the two things. But it's not only, let's say, brings up the trauma and release them and so on. It actually is spiritual growth tool. So especially if you want to, if this is something that's interesting for you to understand what the place of the ego versus who the real you is, shadow work, and try to elevate your frequencies and stuff like that. So we are talking maybe of a different type of segment for customers, but Kundalini is amazing because it's awakening this. It cleans up, but it awakens this energy within you of growth. That is
Nice.
very beautiful. Yes.
I
So
also.
the movement is more of this energy flowing. What can happen also is that you have a release of emotions, but this is also for breathwork. So breathwork and Kundalini, what can happen is that you have emotions coming up. And a lot of times, maybe you don't even know why. Maybe you need to cry. For example, my wife had to cry last time after one session, and I asked them, what happened? Why did you cry? And she had no idea. But this is because this energy and the body in general is intelligent. So he knows, it goes to the subconscious, and there is a reason of this emotion to be released to heal a trauma or to get to the next level, right? And Yeah. So basically, one thing that I always say during the session is, if something comes up, don't hold it back. Let it go, because actually the feeling is healing.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think that's the combination between this practice, Kundalini, and the breath work is really, really interesting, because the Kundalini sounds is passive, or looks is a
Yeah.
passive treatment for from the patient perspective, and the breath work is very active from the
Yeah.
patient
Yeah.
perspective. That's why I really not like this mix that you do. And
Yeah.
what do you think? In which situation you think, okay, this patient needs maybe to try or to experience the Kundalini instead of the breath work, or vice versa?
Yeah. Let's say that there is not a white and black answer. Sometimes they could do both. Okay, for a client, right? Let's say that there is one thing, one decisive factor. The decisive factor is for sure the fact that breathwork is intense, right? So let's say there is the stigma, let's say, of the energy work that can be seen for some people as too much of a fluff type of things, right? I mean, and again, I really recommend people to try it. And then if you don't feel anything, you continue saying that,
Yeah,
because that's the same thing that I felt at the beginning. This is not how is it possible that you don't even
yeah,
have contact and you move, and I really don't understand it. Believe me, I really felt it, right? So one thing is that one barrier is some people are not open for Kundalini, for example, right? But also, what can happen is I believe sometimes for Kundalini, it also used as a spiritual growth tool. That means that sometimes things comes up that you need to work with, and you need to be ready to work on yourself. Even though that can happen also with the breath work, I feel with Kundalini that's more. So it is more passive. It is very easy to lie down there. It's more difficult to let go and accept everything that comes to you. But actually, if you really work properly with it, it is a beautiful tool to actually get something to work on for yourself to, let's say, to upgrade. Breath work, let's say, maybe there is less stigma, so it's easy to accept, especially from, let's say, from the men. So I think the women are more open to in general. So I don't want to, of course, to generalize. Also, I'm a man and I'm doing this, but and you as well, right? But at least in my experience, a lot of men are a little bit more close to this type of spiritual type of work, energetic work. While breath work is seen more as a, even if it's hard work, it's more active, more a masculine energy type of things. It is something that they can work on, and they are okay even to, let's say, release emotion or to cry or stuff like that, if it comes from breath work, because the breath will break you down, and will let's say, calm this emotion comes up and heal you from that, and I think it's more accepted. Let's say in terms of trauma, real trauma healing, I think I'm realizing more and more how actually breathwork is powerful.
okay. There is more
Yeah,
exposure. Looks like this is more exposure
yeah.
into
It is something that you need to think. It's not, most of the time one session is not enough, and so you need to be committed to do hard work for a few times at least. And
yeah.
I mean, breathing that hard for almost an hour, it can be uncomfortable, but it gives
Yeah,
beautiful
that's
results.
indeed something that we have to say for every therapy, right? So
Yeah.
it can happen that in one session you feel a dramatically increase or any symptoms you are looking for to change.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna turn on the light. Sorry. Yes.
yes, and maybe for other patients it takes few other sessions, like few, like 2 3. I mean, there
Yeah.
is no, that's why this is not conventional therapy. It's not a pill that you experience it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's say you take a pill of any anti-inflammatory drug, and then you know that in 2 hours it's gonna work, and this
Yeah.
is something that it will work maybe not in the same time, but it will work maybe after 2-3 days, right? Or like you feel something maybe later, and maybe you need to go again into that therapy another 2 times, maybe next week or maybe in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. And so this is we don't know really that we can't tell, right?
But I am a big proponent of actually addressing the source of the issue. So you have, if you say we take a pill, you can numb, or let's say most of the time you can put a fix on the pain or on the outcome of that issue you have. But then you, after a while, you will go back there again, right? Because you didn't resolve the root cause.
Yeah.
And that's the same actually. Okay, the doctor gives you some pills, but if you have addictions that you use drugs or you drink too much, you also a lot of time do it to numb your feelings or your pain, right? So either it's medicine or it's addiction, but to solve the root cause, again, in my opinion, you have either therapies, mind-body therapies, or somatic, let's say, work that you can do, or you have traditional therapy, which is go to talk to somebody about it, right? And I relate more with the mind-body therapy. There is, of course, sometimes they go hand in hand. It's good to do both, of course.
Yeah.
But what this type of, because you also don't need to. This is another thing that especially men sometimes have problem to do, right? To open themselves and talk about things, right? If you do a session of breath work, you don't need to talk to anybody. It will come up in your mind. You will talk to yourself. You just need to be able to not resist your emotions. But you don't need to share with people if you don't want to, right? You just need to feel them yourself and release when some emotion comes up and so on. And it's something you can do without having to share your traumas or when you were a kid to somebody else, right? I mean, you can do it if you want, but it's not necessary. And I think it's a very beautiful work because your body by itself can heal.
Yes, and there are not side effects, right?
Yeah.
Just try it, see what happens, and if it doesn't work, you don't lose anything. Really, just there is not side effect. And maybe just to close into if there are contraindication for any people that want to try these two therapies.
Yes, there are. There are some. So of course, if you're pregnant, you shouldn't do them. Both of them. If you take psychopharmac, like antidepressive, yes. If you have an episode of epilepsy or detached retina or cardiovascular disease, like strong cardiovascular problem, then you don't do it. And again, I think for breathwork you have a little bit more. This type of breathwork you have a little bit more contraindication than the Kundalini. But in general, I mean, those are the type of, and of course, before starting, we will share with the clients a list of contraindication to be sure that they're safe, let's say, doing it.
Of course, there is a screening before you go into the therapy. How long does it work, the Kundalini? Because we talk about 45 minutes session, 1 hour for the breath work. How long does it work?
It's the same. It's 1 hour. It's 1 hour. But I have to say, I get this comment also for a breathwork session that I had 2 days ago. The client says, okay, I know it's 1 hour, I know it's hard work, but it felt like 20 minutes. It went very fast, actually. And in Kundalini, I feel it's even, I always feel that. It's 1 hour, you're lying down 1 hour, doing nothing basically. Well, you actually do if you feel the energy, but you don't really have to, it flies. It really flies. So it is 1 hour as well, Kundalini. But the perception of times when you are those type of altered state of consciousness, it's
disrupted. Yes, indeed. I also felt that. So I think we are in the end, right? And where people can find you or your website to know more, or maybe to book a session with you.
Yes, I am now building my website is www.innerfreedomteam.com. It will bring you at the moment at a landing page where I'm offering a free ebook that we created based on the work of Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you're probably familiar with him, right?
Yeah.
The Power of Now, The New Earth, and
Spiritual teacher.
yes, and those books are, let's say, what kind of initiated my type of journey on the spiritual level, because it summarized in a nutshell is the title of the book, The Power of Now, right? So it is meaning how important it is to live in this moment and not in your head. Now, said it is very easy, to do it is more difficult. So I think I created an ebook with like a summarized, it's a kind of a guidebook. So it's also practical advice on how to do that, because that helps you to reduce daily stress. So whether you just want to have a more quiet day and reduce your stress, or if you want to start your spiritual journey to heal yourself and to find your purpose, the most important thing to start with is to be able to silence the mind and be in the moment. After that, yes, there is self-love, being grateful. There's many things that you can work with in your toolkit to get there. But silencing this and being in the moment is the most important. So I'm offering a free ebook for everybody that if they put their email address in, and they will subscribe to the mailing list.
I guess we're gonna put
not
the
so many
link in the
emails.
description, and
Yes.
and then they just click on there and they find everything inside.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, we are also on Instagram, of course. That's what we use the most the moment. So just to post some videos or some also when we have new events. But soon the new website will be built. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you, Beppe. You have
Maybe one
anything
thing
to...
that I wanted to, yes, one thing I wanted to add.
Yes.
Sorry for that. We also recently started another thing. So outside of Kundalini activation and breathwork, we also have something else that is called spinal energetics,
Yeah.
or talking to the chakras. So it's two different things, kind of similar, but we are certified in both. So we combine both the very let's say scientific part with the more spiritual part, that we put them together. And the beauty of this, let's say all three things work on the nervous system. They all are used to self-heal and to remove your trauma and to improve your life by removing the traumas, let's say. And this one, the spinal energetic and talking to the chakra, is a little bit different than the other ones, because it's always one-on-one, and it's done on a like on a massage bed, and you work with energy on the spine. So usually most of the time you're lying on your belly, and you work on the spine. So on the spine, and it also helps healing physical things, and not only physical, but also emotional, of the mind, etc. This is a different type of energy than the Kundalini one. So this is cosmic energy, but it's more soft and gentle energy. This doesn't have so many contraindications. This can be done also to babies, children, and to very old people, right? Kundalini and breathwork, you cannot do it to somebody that is 90. You cannot do it to somebody that is 2 years old. This one, spinal energetic, you can do. And I wanted to share, just to close, one example of how powerful this is. There is this the son of the cousin of my wife, so somebody in the family that is 6 months old, and since 4 months, so just after 2 months he was born, he is not eating anything. He cannot eat. He has a reflux, so basically just the smell of food he throws up, and he cannot sleep at night. So he sleeps only 15 minutes, and then he wakes up. 15 minutes to wake up. So imagine also the parents, right, about the stressful life and everything. They went to all type of doctors, hospitals, alternative, all type of things. Nothing. So he actually now has a tube in the nose for the milk, because he cannot do anything. It just throws up. So he has a tube and to force to eat. We did a session, of course, with the children. You cannot do like a whole hour session. So you start with 5 minutes or 10 minutes max. And after the first session, is the first night that he slept 6 hours in a row. It's the first time ever that he saw, because they always try to put apples or pears or things on the table. The doctor told them, try it, and maybe he takes it. He never. If he takes it, he only throw it away, because he cannot even smell it. The first time that he take it and he put it in his mouth and start to chew a little bit in it.
Amazing.
Now, I don't say there is from one time to another is cure completely. We need
Yeah.
to continue and go on, but it cannot be a coincidence. I mean, for 4 months like this, we tried it, and the day after, like, so I find this so beautiful if you can help people with healing and then to get better.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
I found my purpose. That's why I'm doing this.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that, and very curious to see
Okay.
how it goes. And good luck for your practice. For those that are listening,
Thank you, brother.
if you are interested, just go and book a session because Beppe is really loves what he does and really puts his own being into it. So thank you again, Beppe. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
listeners, and we'll see you in the next episode, or maybe they're gonna see you as a presenter this time.
We're gonna do it
Okay?
in Italian next time.
Yeah, maybe. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Thank
Ciao.
you, Alessio. Bye bye. Thank you.